Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Language Zone. I'm your host, Mr. JB. Today what we're going to deal with is something that is extremely important for ESL learners, something that I touched on in my last video, the present continuous. But not only are we going to speak about the present continuous, we're also going to speak about the simple present and when you should use each tense. First of all, the present continuous. Now, what is the present continuous and when do you use it? You use the continuous for something that is happening at or around the time of speaking and it has not yet finished. All right, so we're going to look at a few examples. First one, the water is boiling, can you turn it off? That means that the water is boiling at this exact moment, not in the future, not in the past. The next one, listen to those people. What languages are they speaking? It means that someone is speaking a language right now at the exact moment of speaking. I'm going to bed now. Good night. Now, if you say I'm going to bed now, does it mean that you're going to bed in the past or in the future? No, it means you're going to bed at the exact moment of speaking. Now, you're also going to use the continuous for a temporary situation. For example, I am living with some friends until I find a flat. I am living with some friends until I find a flat. It doesn't mean that you're permanently living with your friends. It means that you're living with them for a certain amount of time. Another example, you're working hard today. Yes, I've got a lot to do. It means that you're working hard within a certain amount of time, around the time of speaking. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're working hard at the exact moment, but it means that within a time that is around when you're speaking, it means that you're working hard. Now, the simple present, and when do you use it? You use the simple for things in general or things that happen repeatedly. Here's an example. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Now, if I were to say water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, does it mean that I'm boiling water right now? No, not necessarily. It means that in general, water will boil at 100 degrees Celsius. Excuse me, do you speak English? Now, if I were to ask someone that question, excuse me, do you speak English? Does it mean that I'm asking if you're speaking English at this exact second? No. The question is used to find out if you generally speak English, but not specifically at this moment in time. Another example, it doesn't rain very much in summer. Now keep in mind that I didn't say it isn't raining very much in summer. I'm simply stating it doesn't rain very much in summer. And this is actually a general statement and it is a fact. Here's the example. My parents live in London. They have lived there all their lives. That means simply one fact. My parents live in London. I'm not stating whether they're going to be there tomorrow or they were there before. I'm just simply stating one fact. Another example. John isn't lazy. He works very hard most of the time. That's a fact. Then keep in mind that there are no words in this sentence ending in ing. Because if it was, I would be more than likely referring to the present continuous, not the simple present. For the final portion, this could be slightly difficult for ESL learners, so I'm going to go through it. I always do versus I'm always doing. Now, if you were to say I always do something, it equals I do it every time. For an example, I always lose things. What does that mean? It means more than likely you can't trust the person to hold on to something. It means that they're more than likely going to lose it and they're losing things all the time. But on the other hand, I'm always losing things. It does not mean that I lose things every time. It means that I lose things quite often and more often than normal. So here are some examples for this. You're always watching television. You should do something more active. If I were to make this statement, am I actually saying that the person is watching television 24 hours a day? No, not really. But I am saying that they're watching television more than enough. And they're doing it frequently, but not doing it consistently all the time. Another example, John is never satisfied. He's always complaining. Of course, John is never satisfied, and I did say he's always complaining. So this might seem slightly strange, but it doesn't mean that John is complaining every single second of the day. But it does mean that John does complain frequently. Now, what we've gone over today has been the present continuous and the simple present. Hope everything was clear, and I'll see you next episode. Goodbye.